You can continue.
Start, sir.
Yeah, you can start.
Uh, Good evening, sir. Thank you for giving the opportunity today. And as my today presentation is on a Spring security implementation. So, as we all know that se- security means what? Securing the your precious things like jewelry, whatever your files or documents like that for the regular life. But what here we are talking about, we add some word like Spring security. So what it's refer? So Spring security refers that whether it is Spring application, we use to secure that data or in that data that's inside that Spring application. So here is my some contents. Introduction to Spring security and configuring Spring security, implementing authentication, implementing authorization, secure RESTful APIs, and best practice of Spring security in summary. So I will go step by step. First is Spring security. So as I showing that Spring security is powerful and flexible security framework for the Java web application. It provides comprehensive sets of tools for implementing authentication, authorization, and other security features in your application. In whatever it is in the Spring application, there will be a security provided by Spring security, which is it is a like dependency which will add in security dependency we will add on it. So then next, one of the key benefit of using Spring security as that is integrated seamlessly with the rest of the Spring ecosystem, making it easy and configured using alongside other Spring technology like Spring MVC and Spring. So we cannot make our files folder like anyone can access. So we add Spring security. It will make it easy, make like no one like an unauthorized person cannot access that files. So configuring Spring security, to get started Spring security, you need to, in your application, typically involve defining a set of securities, a set of security rules, and configuring authentication authorization provider. Spring security provides a rich set of configuration options that allow you to customize the behavior of the framework and suit the specific need of your application. As here is word as authentication. Authentication is a process verifying the identity of user. Before anyone go a person go for the movie, they have ticket, or some went without ticket also, like they don't want to like spend money. So we will in front of gate we just keep a guard. I want just question where is your ticket. So here is also the same. Before going to your data, whatever you have, you just put a guard like user and password. So user and password are those things which is asked by that like guard who are you, and show your ticket like that only. So by default Spring security stores the credential in this encrypted format to ensure the maximum security. You can also customize authentication process integrated with external authenticator provider, active dictionary, and so as you have ticket, so you show the guard that I have ticket. Yeah, it will check that ticket is genuine or not. The password and the user is okay. Then it allow to user to go to your main allow to go access or whatever your data. So authorization is process determining whether a user has permission to perform the certain action or access the certain resource. As I told that when you enter the movie hall, you saw the different seat, but you said that that seat that is which is you belong, that is a purchase that particular seat. So here is also after the authorization means giving the particular person to your place. Like, yeah, you are having your this desk, you have to work here, you have to do whatever you have to, then you have to from here. So here is the authorization. So Spring RESTful APIs. As earlier I was using lots of like get, push, pop. So we can also give them to security by using this Spring security. RESTful API becoming integrally popular for building modern web applications. However, secure, these API can be challenged due to their stateless nature, the need of authenticate and authorization each request. So Spring Security provides the several tools, techniques for securing RESTful APIs. As I told now, that we can provide the security to this API also. So where we will best practice, we can see this are the Spring Security in Java web application and the planning attention here. Using strong password policy and encryption algorithm protect user credential, regularly update patch application to address security vulnerability. Implementing multi-factor authentication provide to extra layer of security, monitoring your application suspicious activity. So these are just for the to protect your important data from the unauthorized for unauthorized like hackers or whatever we can say like from them. So here's my this PPT. So in this summary, I am just saying that I'm going to use the application, Spring Boot application, and giving this security to the Spring that giving Spring security to that application Spring. So that's all. The and my
Okay,
so
the
yes sir.
presentation, is it remaining?
No, so presentation then just demonstration started, sir.
Okay.
So as I can show, I am sir, is my screen visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
So here is my programming Spring programming. So before going to start this execution, I will show the
Your presentation is visible, but your demo video is not visible. Your demo slide is not visible.
is not visible, sir.
No, while there's a option to share your whole screen in the screen share, try that.
Okay, sir.
Close the screen share and again try to share your whole screen.
Yes, sir. Wait, will sir, but 1 second. So now it is visible.
Now it is visible.
Okay, sir. So here I am showing my program, Spring application program. So before going to execute this program, I will show an important thing. Yeah, this is the heart of the program. So here we can see I have using this security. So this means if I will run this program, uh, yeah, here I will run this program. So at the server side, it will show me a password and the user. The two things I have definitely is going to show me. So before going to just stop this one, and I have to run that. So I will start it again. So yeah, so it is started and it's showing me a username and password. So just to put that username and the important thing is that the Spring providing like having generating password by own. It is already in built password will come in the program. So it will like I will show it will like here only the password is automatically generated. I just copied here from here and I paste here. Uh, yeah, here it is the password. The it is automatically generated password from the screen from the Spring. I just copy it and I will just paste. So okay, this is showing like that, and I will just Yeah. So I got the Gaurav as a developer. So here is also the same thing I written here. This is programming. Yeah, I can see as I can show. This is Gaurav and the developer. So this is all from my side. Thank you for giving me this time. Thank you, sir. Hello.
Okay. So Gaurav, firstly, can you give me your email ID? Put it in the
Okay, sir.
chat itself. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And secondly, the whole PPT, how you have
Yes, sir.
presented it, it has many lines. It has paragraphs too. Okay. So if you can just put one liner or some few keywords that are present, and you explain those keywords to your presentator or whoever it is, then
Yes,
it
sir.
will be more professional in a way. So try
Sir,
to,
I just I just make a story that in that story I just express the all the things whatever I just put
yeah.
in.
So in the last two slides, you explained it very well. The authorization part and the other part that you have to enter, you have to give tickets and all those things. You expressed this very well. I want you to do the same for the previous slide as well. Don't try to put every information on the slide. You have it in yourself. Put the key points. Try to summarize those slides so that they'll
Okay.
look good and you'll be able to explain much more. So people will think, yeah, you have more knowledge about the topic rather than reading the topic. It doesn't look good.
Okay.
Secondly, you have talked about Spring Security, correct? So
Yes.
you could have just compared it with another type of security framework. It would have given
Yes.
a good idea to the viewer itself. In what ways is it benefiting to use
Yes,
Spring
sir.
Security over other security frameworks?
I forgot. I have that idea also, but I
Yeah.
forgot that to compare with that also.
Okay, okay. You just one slide is needed for comparison. Yeah, this is the advantage of Spring Security. These are the other security frameworks. That's fine.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are.
Thirdly, you didn't ask about any question and answers. So if anybody wanted to have any questions with you, they'll not have the opportunity. Okay, so try to include a question and answer slide in your presentation.
Yes, sir. Okay,
Okay,
sir.
and while explaining the demo, you can just so you went on with the code, so you don't have to show the codes. Just go on with your demo, just put the user and the password and try to explain every working code whatever has been happening behind the front end. Try to explain it on the front end itself, on the
Okay.
screen, that this user, I have made a module of it, ssa, in this
Yes, sir.
way you can do it. Okay,
Yes, sir.
that is fine. That is all from your side. It was a good presentation. So you
Sir,
can
can
improve
I
on
stop?
these points. Okay.
Okay. I stop you here.
Yeah, you can stop your screen sharing. Thank you.
So I'll put my mail on the.
Okay. So next we have Saurabh Singh.
I'm audible.
Yeah, you're audible. You can start your screen share.
Yeah, this is. Am I visible?
Yeah, you're visible.
Let me just share the screen. Is it visible?
Yeah, the screen is visible as well. You can start.
Yeah. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Saurabh, and the topic for my today's presentation is software requirement specification document. Uh, Before moving further, here are the contents, introduction, need of SRS, application, the demo, and some references. So when we talk about SRS, the first question that arrives is what exactly is an SRS? So let me explain you in a very layman term. Uh, so the SRS document is just like a manual of a software, just like a manual or a user guide of a washing machine. Let's say you buy a washing machine, so you get a user manual or user guide of that washing machine, whether how to operate that machine. So just like that, an SRS document is the guide of the software or the product that a company builds. So let's quickly get into the SRS. So basically, a software requirement specification is a document that describes what the software will do and how it will be expected to perform. It also describes the functionality of the product that needs to be fulfilled and the needs of all the stakeholders, the business, and everything, etc. You can think of an SRS as a blueprint or roadmap for the software you are going to build. So basically, let's talk about needs of SRS. The elements that comprise an SRS can be simply summarized into 4 Ds: define, describe, detail, and deliver. So let me quickly give you a gist of all these Ds. We want to define the purpose of our product, then describe what we are building, the detail the individual requirements, and deliver it for the approval. A good SRS document will define everything from how document will interact when embedded in the hardware to the expectations when connected to other software. So an SRS document basically gives you a complete picture of your entire project. It provides a single source of truth, so that every team involved in the development will follow it. It is your plan of action and keeps all your teams from development side to the testing and maintenance till the maintenance at the same page. So let's see the quick application. An SRS basically uh, forms the basis of an organization, the entire project. It sets out the framework that all the development teams will follow. It provides critical information to the teams, including the development operations, quality assurance, and maintenance, ensuring that team are in the agreement to a similar point. Let's quickly take a very small example. As I've shown on the left side, you can see this is a small, you can say, uh, a picture of how am I going to create my software. So you can see the logos on the left side, then the small description like welcome to the furniture shop, then there will be a user ID, a password, and then the login button that I'll put the credentials and then login, then I'll get the page. So basically this is a framework of the software which I'm going to build. So I'll have this rough idea about how the software will look like. So let me show you a very quick demo of my task which I've done. So basically we were assigned to create an SRS for TM Master Web Application. Let's go in depth about what all will be present in each forms according to the discussion done with the client. Let me show you my demo. Yeah, so this is the document which I built for the TM Master Web Application. So as we can see with the flowchart, let's say I'm the client, or let's say you are the client, and this is my product. So what you will be doing is you will be filling a registration form. Then after filling the registration form, let's say you have filled the registration form, you'll get the billing and confirmation details. That billing and confirmation details will be stored in the master data. You will select a certain package, and as soon as you select the package will start. It will be having an starting date and the ending date as well. So you will be required to fill the certain credentials like your personality, how you built, your body measurements, etc. Then basis on basis of that, there will be a diet chart formation done from the backend part, like from the doctor side. Then there will be reminders on the daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, whether what you have to eat, what you have to when you have to wake up, and you are basically entire, you can say, dincharya in Hindi. So you have to upload a picture for every 5 kg body weight change, and then after the completion of current plan, you'll be asked to rejoin the current plan, or you want to update the or change any other plan. Let's say if you click yes, then you'll again go for the selection of package and billing. And let's say if you don't want to continue further, there will be a termination process and you'll be discharged. So what all be present on those forms are, let's say, when you are going to book the appointment. So what all credentials are going to present? So like name, email, phone number, relations. The appointment can be sent to the WhatsApp, via SMS, via email as well. And how you wanna be treated, like the location of your treatment, like at the office or the home visit or on instead online. The evaluation can be done on further basis like your body measurements, your weight, email, phone number, address, sex, profession, blood test. Then on the second page there will be medications list, whether you have any medication history, your family history, and then the third page will be as fat scan, list of weight, total fat, visceral fat, BMI, your BMI. Then all this data will be measured by the devices that will be sent to you after you have selected one of these packages. Then the fourth page will be containing the visceral fat you have, then the any clip, any detailed clip on the WhatsApp which you have provided the number. Then the fifth page will be having your personality form, like all all the measurements, your body measurements. Jumping on to the eighth page, what are the amount of water you're going to intake each every day in this specific time as well, so you won't be falling onto the shortage of water, like the minimum requirement of for a body, a human body, like the 3 liters a day or 2.5 liters a day. Then there will be checking of on the ninth page, where checking will be done about the medical conditions, whether you are feeling healthy after taking a diet, or you want some change. Then there will be food diary form containing the timing of the breakfast, lunch, snacks, dinners. Then the amount of food you want to have to intake on each day. Then there will be likes and dislikes from after the doctor let's say gives you certain recipes or diets, whether you like them or you don't like them, you want to change, you can update on the WhatsApp as well, or on their site as well. Then there will be a cuisine form. There will be again after let's say after a month you have followed the diet completely and properly. Then of course there will be changes in your body, you can see the changes in your bodies, and you'll be sending a pic after you have like gained weight, like gained 5 kg extra, or lost 5 kg according to your body goals. Then you can just check the body measurements and give it to your doctor via WhatsApp or any other source. Then there will be blood test, whether your blood pressure is under control or exceeding the normal ranges. Then there will be pictures. Then there will be, let's say, since if you are a woman, then there will be data about the menstrual cycle. Then the cook form, things to do, all these kind of details will be present in the SRS document, and this will guide the software designer to build the software according to what I have mentioned here in this SRS document form. Continuing further, so this is the SRS document which I built. These are the references, and without taking further of your time, thank you. If you have any other questions, you can ask me, or you can reach me at my mentioned Gmail account. Thank you. That's it from my side.
That was a good presentation from your side. The points were well thought out, and you had everything planned that this point will have this much information. I wanted a little more information on SRO at the very start. You, even though you gave an example, you made us understand what all is there, but a little more information could have helped us. Secondly, while giving out the demo, while you were showing the flowchart, try to zoom it out a little bit so that people can read it as well while you're explaining. Other than that, while starting your presentation, do give your introduction and the batch. Like you are from 16 December, correct? So I'm Saurabh Singh from 16 December batch. This is my topic name and all that. These are some minor things that you need to take care of. Other than that, the presentation was very good. I liked it very much.
Thank you, sir.
That was all from my side. Thank you. Next, we have Mopidevi. I'll ask her to unmute. Yes.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible and visible as well. You can start your screen share.
So, Is my screen visible, sir?
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Good evening, sir. This is Mopidevi Gnana Sundar. I am from March 1st batch. Now, I have two pending presentations. One of them was the presentation on the data types, variables, operators in JavaScript. So, before we do any JavaScript applications, first we need to have the basic understanding of on the basics of the JavaScript. So, we need to understand what are the data types, variables, and operators for doing any JavaScript applications. These are different things. So first of all, what is the data types? In JavaScript, a data type is the classification of the type of the data that are available for storing the data. There are different data types present, like the number, which is used to represent the numerical values, strings to represent the textual data, booleans for representation of the true or false, and null to represent the unintentional absence of any object value. And undefined is used to represent the value of uninitialized variables, symbols to represent the unique values, and objects to represent more complex data types. So we need to understand what are the different data type of variables are there and how to use them for what type of function. So if there is any variable, we need to understand which type of that variable it is. Like it should be a string, integer, for our better understanding and doing the project. And next are the variables. So basically, variables are used to store the data values. Data values. The variable can hold any type of values, like we discussed previous different data types, and we can define a variable in three types. First one is the var. Var it can be var can be accessed within the function where it is defined, or it can also be accessed outside of the function. And next is the let. It can be accessed within the block of code, and it cannot be accessed out of the loop. And next one is the const. Const is declares a blocks scoped variable that cannot be reassigned. Like if we give a particular value, the value will be fixed for this const type of variables. And next is the operators. So for doing any JavaScript applications, we need to understand the what are the operators and how to use them. So there are many different operators, like the arithmetic operators. So in arithmetic operators also there are many things like addition for a addition of two numbers, which can be any of the type, subtraction of those numbers, multiplication, division, and some of them are these arithmetic operators. And the next one is the comparison operators. There are many different comparison operators, like equal to, which double equal to, which tries to check whether if there are two variables having same values, strict equal to check if there are same type, and not equal to check if there are equal or not, greater than or equal to check if there are two variables, to check when other is greater than the other one or not, or is less than or equal to not. So these type of comparisons will help us to do our projects and get the required info. And there are logical operators also, like and or not. These are the we can use by saying using the boolean values. Like for n, if there are both the values are zero, it will give zero. If both the values are one, it will give one. If either of them are zero, it will give zero. For or, if either of them is one, it will give one. And for not, it will change the value of a variable. Like if there is a variable, boolean variable, if we fix it as a true, by using not, we can change it to false. And assignment operators are for assigning the values to the variables. Like let 5 be equal to 5, like that we can assign the operators. So by understanding these data types, variables, and operators, I started to do a basic task to create a website. So I have tried to create a calculator website using. So, sorry for this. Uh, I have created a website using using these types as a calculator. So what I have done is I have created a calculator where we can do the basic operators like the addition of two numbers, subtraction of two variables, multiplication, and division. And with this, I have also added some other buttons like the conversion buttons. Like if I given 125 in meters, I can use this button and convert it into foot. In the vice versa, we can do that. So using these data types and operators, I have created the calculator, and I have deployed my code in the GitHub. I will show the code now. Is it visible, sir? This is the website I have done. So here we can see 12, and I can use some basic other variable. And if we keep the click, it will take the 47. So basically what I do is I'll take everything as in variables and directly update the values. So 12, for suppose if we take into 65, I'll directly evaluate the value of this 47 into 65 and give the result. And as I mentioned, I have also created some buttons to convert. So if for suppose if we assume that 3500 in degrees Celsius, by using this, we can convert it into the Fahrenheit and vice versa. And another example was we can convert the 123 meters to feet and feet to meter. So I will show the code for this one. So if you can see, these are the uh, code for this code. And here you can see I have directly used an inbuilt variable evaluate to directly convert the string to its final result. And these are some different functions to convert the values. Here you can see this one is the function to convert to Fahrenheit from the Celsius. From Celsius. So we'll take the Celsius result, which is present. This is present here, and we will convert it into the Fahrenheit, and similarly Fahrenheit to Celsius. And these are also other functions like convert to foot and foot to foot. And this is my HTML code and my CSS for styling. So, hello, sir.
Yes, you can continue.
This was my first presentation. And can I show my second pending presentation?
Okay, so what we'll do is, okay, you can do your second presentation, but has the presentation, like all the slides? All the slides have ended in this presentation.
Yes, I have ended all this. Yes.
Okay, okay. You can start with your next presentation then.
So my next project was on the control structures in JavaScript. So in JavaScript, control structures are also very much required for building the applications. So there are different control structures present in the JavaScript for getting the required output that we require. So first one is the if-else statements. So if we want a particular type of conditions to be applied. So like here you can see an example. If the age is greater than or equal to, we need to say that he is eligible to vote. So if we any particular stage we have want is this particular type of condition should happen, then we can use the if-else statements. So if it is true, it will happen one type. If it is false, there is another type to happen. And next is the switch case. The switch case evaluates the expressions and executes the blocks based on the matching. So if the color is red, it will console the red. So, but if the color is green, it will console the green. If there is not any of the following cases, then it will console the unknown color. So in switch cases, based on the type, it will compare it, and if that is present, it will console that one. If there is anything, then it will console the default ones. And next one is the for loops. So if we want a particular number of operations to happen and specific number of times, then we can use the for loops. So here, if we want to output from 0 to 9, we can use this for loop. So here you can see for let I equal to 0 to I less than 10, it will console all the values. So it will return 0, 1, 2, so on 9. So while loop also enables us to do the same operations repeatedly based on a particular condition. So it will happen until that condition is true. So here you can see it is similar to the for loop. Here you can see first we have given I equal to 0, and it will execute it till I is less than 10. So you can see it will increase 0, then 1, then 2. So on it will happen till 10. So like that while loops works. And so based on these control structures, I have taken a project of creating an application called Rock, Paper, Scissors. So Rock, Paper, Scissors is a basic simple game where there will be two persons. Based on the outcome of their issues, they will select who is the winner. Like If one gets rock and another gets paper, the paper will beat the rock. So paper, the one who chooses the paper will get one prize. So if they both give the same, then it's a draw. So based on that, I have created a simple application where we'll choose between rock, paper, scissors, and the computer will randomly also choose one of these. So based on what happens, the scenario, we'll get either a point or lose a point or get half a point. So I have created an application. It will so this app will run until one of them will get 5 points. So and that's how I created it. And then I have deployed it in the GitHub. I will show the application which I created in GitHub. So this is the application which I created. So I will start. But suppose I have chosen the rock, but computer has chosen the scissors. So as rock beats scissors, we'll win the point. So in that way, we'll get a point. So if we play for some time, here we can see sometimes we'll lose, sometimes we'll win. So if we get 5 points, we'll win 5 or more than the 5 points. So it happens in that particular way till one of them gets more than or equal to 5 points. And let me show my code for this one. Here you can see initially I have created an array for the computer choose random to randomly choose one of them. So here you can see rock, paper, scissors or three randomly that will be chosen by the computer. And this is our player selection. So based on these conditions, if what we have chosen and what the computer has chosen, we'll either win or we'll lose or we'll get the tie. And here you can see, then we'll update the points based on the our points. If we win, we'll add 1 point to us. If we lose, computer will get 1 point. If both are same, they'll get half each. And finally, if both the players reach 5 points at a time, then it will be a draw. If we reach 5 points more, 5 or more points before the computer, we win. And if computer reaches before us, we lose. So in that way, I have used the topic of control structures. Like here, I have used the if statements for comparing the operators and updating based on my requirements. So in that way, I have them. If anyone has any questions, okay.
Okay. Has the presentation ended?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So there are some few points that you need to take care of. So firstly, in your first presentation, can you tell me the topic name?
Data types, variables and operators. Implementation using data types, variables and operators in JavaScript.
Okay. So
Understanding
firstly,
them and applying on them.
okay, okay. So firstly, you can summarize all the information. So you can see all the previous interns presentation on the same topic as well. What they have done is they've summarized it. You can just give me 1 or 2 lines that you have given in the slides. What is the operator, what is an operator, what is a variable, and all those things. And then for the list of operators and variables or data types, you can just type the data types, you can just write their names and you can explain them yourselves instead of giving them the whole lines. Okay.
Okay.
And secondly, your PPT can be a little more creative. That's what I feel. It was a little more simple, a little plain. You know, you
So
can
like
put,
in both the sir, like
yeah,
explaining the terms and explaining about my project.
yeah.
Both.
So go on the previous slide.
Yes.
Yeah. So here, if you just give 1 or 2 lines that you have given like for the operator, that is to explain what are operators. But for comparison, arithmetic, logical operators, you don't have to write anything. You can just explain it yourself. Okay. At the same time, you can give examples for arithmetic operators on the side, like a photo or a screenshot. For this is the arithmetic operators. These are the types of examples. Dry codes, have you seen? Where,
Yes, sir.
yeah, so you
Yes.
can just give those dry codes here. Secondly, your whole demo was really good. I liked your demo. You have made the calculator and the
Done, but
other stone paper scissors part. You have explained it well. Even though you try to explain it on the front end, you can be more elaborate on the front end itself. So you don't have to go back to the code. You can just say for the rock, I've created this module, this function. This function does this. I've used a random generator for which this
Ah.
will be. You can explain it here itself. You don't have to go to all codes. Okay.
Okay.
And lastly, you can add a QA slide, that is a question answer slide, a reference slide, and an end slide where you'll give your information if someone wants to contact you for any reference or for any help that they would be needing in the future. Okay. So try to include all these. These are for both of your presentations. Okay. Now, yes, so you can go. It was a good presentation overall, but you can improve a lot on the PPT side. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for the services.
Next, we have Raj. Raj, can you unmute yourself?
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. You can. Yeah, your video is also visible.
Just a second. I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, your screen is also visible. You can start.
So, good evening all. Myself Raj Baindra, and I am from Full Stack Web Development Group, 1st of February batch. So I was assigned a task about to learn the concept of JavaScript functions, scopes, and closure, how they are useful and why we need to use them, and how they can be used in our project. Am I audible?
You're audible. You're audible.
So this will be my presentation flow. First, we will have a brief introduction uh, about what is the need of function closures and scope, what benefits they add to our code, and make what benefit they make to our application. We can write code without them also, but how they are very useful. Then we will talk individually about function, scope, closure, then the task that I have made, then the conclusion and question. So let us talk about how function scopes and uh, closures help in my JavaScript development. So they are basically very essential concept if you want to develop the complex application in the JavaScript. So the developers can use all these concepts to modularize the code. That means they can make modules out of it, which can be used uh, out in other files. For example, there are various packages uh, which have JavaScript functions written on them, and we can import them and then we can use them, like npm in Node and Yarn. So it helps there. Also, it makes my code easy to manage, refactor, and debugging. If my code crashes, then it becomes easy to find where exactly my code was crashed, and I can fix those issues. So we know that functions can help in creating the reusable code. We don't have to write everything again and again, and we can use those function logic throughout the application. And with the help of all these concepts, developer can make very scalable and maintainable application. It becomes very easy to maintain and easy to scale according to users. If for example, my application uh, is used by 1,000 users. Now my user base has increased, so it becomes very easy to scale my application. So now let us talk about function. So what is a function? So function basically is a block of code designed to perform a particular task. As we know, we write a specific logic inside the function, and when we execute it, it means we call the function. The function is invoked, then the particular logic is executed. Now there can be two type of functions. A function can be a void function, and function can return something. If a function is a void, it means it does not return anything, and it will execute the logic that is written on it, perform the specific operations that are assigned, and then the function call will end. And if it returns something, then we can call a function in a variable. Then whatever the value that is returned from the function will be stored in that particular variable. So now function provide the code reusability. We don't have to write a particular function. For example, in my code, uh, a particular logic is used more than one time. So I don't have to write that again and again. I can make a function and I can call them. So function also have dynamic behavior. We know that we in JavaScript we have a document object model. So with the help of function, we can manipulate that particular document object model. For example, user have clicked a particular button on the website, and we want to have, and we can write something, some logic in the backend that will happen, and we can show the result on the web page. And asynchronous execution can also be achievable with the function. It means that everything. It means that if a task is running, we can run multiple tasks in the background without blocking the main thread. So at a particular time, various uh, tasks can be performed without blocking the main thread. So now here are the example how what is the syntax of the JavaScript function. So here you can see we define a function with this function keyword. Then there is a name. We can have any name of that particular function, and we can't start the name with numbers and special characters. Uh, so in this function we have parameters. We can have as many as parameters, and we can use this parameter inside our logic, and uh, we write the code and it get executed. For example, I have written a function multiply two numbers. It will return something. I have given two parameters A and B, and I will do the multiplication and will return it. And I have stored in a variable let x, and we can print it console.log to see the output. Uh, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you're audible. Keep
Okay.
continuing. If I feel that you're not audible, I'll tell you.
Okay, sure, sure. So now let us talk about scope. What are the scope? So scope basically determines the accessibility of the variable. So if you want to access variables, there are different kind of scope defined. Initially, there were only block scope and initially there were only global scope and function scope. After ES6, let and const were introduced in the JavaScript, and which give the functionality of the block scope. So as we can see, this is a parenthesis. Any variable defined in a parenthesis cannot be is called as a particular block of code, and we cannot access those variables outside that block. Now there are function scopes. Any variable which is defined inside a function. So it is a function scope and it can be accessed in the function. Now, as we know, a global scope, global means we can use that global variable throughout the application. For example, on the top of my code, I have defined a variable. I have defined some value, and I can manipulate it in throughout the code, and the value will be changed throughout. So this is a global scope, and we can define global variable according to that. So here are some examples. You can see this is a block of code, and we can see I have defined a let x equals to 2. X cannot be used outside here. And this is a function scope. We have defined a variable car name equals to Volvo. I can console.log also. Now this is a global scope. I have defined an global variable outside my function. That is let car name equals to Volvo. Then we have my function. We can write the code here, and also we can manipulate this value car name. I can assign any other value to it. I can assign car name equals to Mercedes or Audi, etc. So that's how these are the basic example how the syntax of a function is written, and how are the variables defined in various scopes. Now let us talk about closures, like what are closures in JavaScript. So in closures, we can make global variables can be made private with the closure. In closures, we have functions which can access the variables outside of its scope. So a basic example can be we can define a function inside a function, and I can access the variables of that parent function inside my child function, because the child function will be called as a closure, and the parent function will be called its lexical parent. So that's how it works uh, basically. So by defining function and variable with clauses, they are not accessible from the outside world. So for example, I have taken an example here. I have defined a function counter. I have defined let count equals to 0. Now I am returning a function. In JavaScript, we can return function also from a function. So now I can access this count which was defined in the counter, and I can increment it and I can print it. Uh, uh, this is the basic code, and this return function will be called as a closure. So let us see the demo that I have made. So here is the to-do list which I have made using all these concepts. So I can add this task. This is my, for example, this is my first task, and I can add this is my second task. I can also remove these tasks. So this is how I made the to-do list using all these concepts. Now let us talk about how it is working. So you can see here, this is my text field and this is my button. So I have made an input and I have given the text field as task input the ID, and button I have I have added an event, and whenever a click event is registered, I will call this function, and there is a list as task list. So here I have made a basically a list variable as task as a global variable, as we can see. So whenever I click on add button on this my front end, as you can see, so I will access all, I will make a variable task input and task list, and using the DOM property document.get element by ID, I will receive it. So first of all, what I am doing is uh, after adding a task, I am clearing the text field. So basically, in task input.value, I am assigning an empty string. Now I have a function create task. Basically, what I am doing in it, I have created a list element in which I have created a text node, and the task I have the text which I have given in the input field, I have created a text node with it and appended it to the list and added to it to the task list here. Now I have made a closure function here, remove task. In this, basically what I am doing is I will basically get the index of particular which remove button of which particular task I have clicked, and I will remove it from the task list that I have. So this is my remove button, and this is basically this is basically the front end for that particular remove button here. Then I can push all those tasks in my this task list, which was a global variable above here, and I have invoked the create task function. So overall, in conclusion, we can see that JavaScript function closures uh, helps developer to write more efficient, modular, and scalable code. With the help of these concepts, we can create high quality web applications that are easy to maintain and update. So these are the references that I have took to understand all these concepts. And if you have any questions, then you can ask. Thank you. Uh,
Okay, so Raj, your presentation was really well explained and made. It was,
uh, Thank you.
you had your dry codes, you had examples after each and every. So for functions you had it, for scopes you had it, for closures you had it. You had a good demo, and with the codes you explained them well. But try to explain those codes on the demo itself. Don't try to come back to the source code.
Sure, sir. I will keep that in mind.
That
Actually,
will
sir, I
be,
have one
yeah.
more pending presentation. Can I give it right now?
Okay, you can give it right now. But if I keep, okay, you can just start with the pending presentation. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So the next presentation is about the control statement and loops that we have in JavaScript. So the presentation flow here will be, first of all, we will talk about the intro, what are the control statement and the loops, then the We will individually talk about the conditional statement, the loop, the task that I have made, the conclusion of it, and if you have any question answer. So as we know that conditional statement and loops are very helpful in JavaScript, because with the help of these conditional statement and loops, we can create very complex JavaScript application. Uh, uh, by carefully designing the condition of loop your code, you can create a program that can handle a wide range of input and output scenarios. What does it mean by that is, for example, in my web page, the user has given any input, and behind the scene, I can check that if it satisfies the particular condition that I have defined in my backend code. If the particular condition is satisfied, then I can execute that particular block of code. So we can use if and else conditions like that. So by this, with this, we can minimize the amount of code needed to accomplish the particular task. So now let us talk about conditional statements. So it is used to control the flow of program based on specific condition. So the flow, for example, the most common, first of all, the most common conditional statement are if, else, and else if, as we all know. So for building the dynamic application, uh, they allow different actions to be taken based on user input, as I have explained earlier. So what it helps, like we have wrote a lot of code, but we can skip unnecessary operations with it. In conditional statement, only the code which satisfy the particular condition will be executed. For example, if my value lies in a range of 1 to 10, then execute this particular block of code. Else, execute this particular block of code. This is how I can use conditional statement to write my backend logic. So here you can see the basic syntax of my if-else statement. So here we can see that in the syntax is in if we have a condition. If this condition one is satisfied, then this block of code will be executed. And else if this condition 2 is satisfied, means it is true. The condition is true, it is satisfied, then this else if block will be executed. Else this block will be executed. I have taken an example. If time is less than 10, uh, it was basically a 24-hour format. I was forgot to add the format also. So if time is less than, for example, 10 a.m., then greeting will be good morning. Else if time is less than 20, then greeting will be good day. Else greeting will be good evening. So this is how you can use the conditional statement. Now we talk about loop. So for example, I have to write, I have to print number from 1 to 100. So now I have two options. Either I can use loop and I can reduce the code amount of code that I have to write, or I will write console.log 1, 2, 3 up to 100 times. So with the help of loop, we can reduce the repetitive action and iterate over a collection of values until a certain condition is met. Now, what is this certain condition? I can define in the loop that if my value is reached 200, then I have to stop. My condition is met and I will execute. I will exit from the loop. So there are various kind of loop. There are three different kinds of loop: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. We will talk about the difference. What is the difference in them? Then, as we have seen, it can automate repetitive tasks, and loops can control the flow of program based on specific conditions. Now, this is the basic syntax of while loop. I define a condition here. When this condition, if the condition is true, my loop will run. When the condition becomes false, I will exit from the loop. In for, we have different expressions we define. For example, we will discuss the example in further slides. In do while loop, we have do parentheses while condition. So the interesting thing about do while loop is it will execute one time, whether or not the condition satisfies. It will execute if the condition is false initially, it will execute one time. If the condition so the first the it means that the block of code will be executed at least one time, even the condition satisfies or not. So here we can see an example. like I less than 10, it will print the number from 1 to 9. Uh, I is actually equals to 0. I haven't mentioned here. So it will print the text. The number is 0, 1, 2 till 9. I am incrementing the I here. Now in do while loop, it will uh, run one at least one time before checking the condition. Now in for loop where I have let I equals to 0, I less than cars length I plus plus. So here can be a car array. It can have multiple elements in it. So it will iterate that array up to its length, and when the certain condition is met, it will stop executing. So the logic that I have, the task that I have made is a guess game here. You get 5 chances to guess a number, and it will provide a hint like if we have provided the right number or not. So in I can see in console the guess that is it is making is 16. So if I provide 12, it will give me a hint that try guessing higher. If I provide 20, it will say try guessing low. If I give 16, then congratulations, you have guessed the number in 3 attempts. So this is the logic. So what I have used is here it is a here there is in JavaScript there is a math.random function. So it will generate a number from 0 to 100 range, and now we have that particular number. Then I have all my if else condition statements. Now I will give the input, and it will check at the backend uh, that if it is the number is equal to the number guessed by the code by the program. So also the number of guesses will get reduced. I will decrement the number of guesses. So if it is low, then I will check in the condition. If it is low, then the current, then I will on the front end it will say yeah, try to guess higher. If the number is higher than the guess number, then it will say try to guess low. And if the number is similar to the guess number by the program, then we have completed the game. So this is the basic logic behind the code. So in conclusion, we can say that conditional statement and loops are basically essential concepts in JavaScript to develop dynamic and responsive programs. With help of these concepts, we can make complex applications, and we can provide complex user interaction and deliver greater value to their users. So these are the references of these tools to learn all these concepts. And any questions you have? Thank you. Uh,
So
sir,
now the presentation is over, correct?
yes, sir. My presentation is over.
Raj, in this presentation, it was the same. The execution of the presentation was done well. The PPT was well made and explained. But there was one thing that you could do better. You could just use a comparison table for each loop. So there are different types of loops, I understand. You have explained while, do while, if, and but if for which test case I want to use, so each of these loops can be used for any test cases, but which will be more preferable? A comparison table for that can be made into one slide.
Okay, sir.
Try to do that so that people will get a clearer idea. Okay, if I want to use a test case like this, I can use this loop. This loop will benefit me more in that type of test case.
Sure, sir.
Okay, that is
Definitely.
that is all from my side. Keep doing presentations like this. I'll be looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, sir, for your compliment.
Thank you.
Should I
Yeah, you
mention
can stop. Yeah, you can stop presenting.
just a second, sir. I have to mention the mail, right? In the chat.
Yeah, you can put your mail in the chat. Sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
We have Ganesh
Yes, sir.
next. Yes, Ganesh, you can start your presentation.
First of all, hello and good evening to all. Myself, Ganesh Kalyankar. I am from Full Stack Web Developer Group of 16th January. Today, I am here to share my understandings of control structures in JavaScript. What are control structures? Control structures are basically used to control the structure of a code. In simple words, it defines the execution of the code, how the code will run. Control structures not only present in JavaScript, but they are common to all the programming languages like Python, Java, JavaScript, etc. There are some control structures like conditional statements, looping statements, and jump statements. We will see one by one in the next slides. First of all, the condition statements. Condition statements are used to perform different actions based on the condition. Like if the condition is true, then we perform a certain task. And if the condition is false, then according to it, we can perform a certain task. In this, there are two types of conditional statements. First one is if-else statement. In if-else statement, here is the example. Here, I take x equals to 10. If x is less than 10, less than 20, then it will print x is less than 20 in console. And if the condition is false, then it will print the else part. The next conditional statement is switch statement. In switch statement, we passed our condition in the parenthesis after the switch statement. Like here, you can see I have assigned fruit equals to banana. If the banana matches the case, then it will execute that code block of that particular case. Here, the case banana will execute and it will print console.log banana is good. The one interesting thing to note about this switch statement is that if we don't use the break statement, it will automatically evaluate the next line because it will automatically evaluate the next line except the default. And if all the cases is false, it will execute this default statement. Like if I set fruit equals to apple, then it will execute the default statement. Next is looping statements. Looping statements are generally used to loop or iterate through any data structure like array, list, etc. As you can see here, there are three expressions in. First one is for loop. In for loop, there are three expressions. First one is initialization, second is comparison, and third one is incrementation. On initialization, after initialization, it checks for the comparison. If this comparison statement holds true, then only it comes inside this block and runs this code. The next one is while loop. Here you can see while loop is same as the for loop. It's just a preference, like who once used to use while over the for, or to prefer for over the while. The next one is do while loop. In do while loop, the code will execute at least once because in do this curly braces, the code will execute once, then it will check for this condition. If the condition false, then it will terminate for here, and if it holds true, then it will go back again to the do and execute this code again. The next are the jump statements. Jump statements are used to jump out of a block on a specific conditions. Like there are two types of jump statements, break and continue. Break is used to break out of the loop, while continue is used to iterate through the next iteration, like to skip the current iteration and go to the next iteration. Here you can see When I equals to 3, the loop will ended. So the output of this code will be the number is 1, 0, the number is 1, number is 2. The next is continue statement. Here, if I equals to 3, then it will skip this iteration and goes to the next iteration. So the output will be 0 to 5 except 3. It doesn't print 3. So in conclusion, control structures in JavaScript are essential. Not in JavaScript. Many other code languages also have control structures. Like I remembered C also have a control structure goto, which is used to go to any specific line in the code. They allow you to perform different activities based on different conditions. Understanding this control structure is crucial, like effective JavaScript program. Let me show you my demo. Like it is a simple slider. So here, when I click next, it will slides to the next slide. You can see here, when I am on my first slide, the previous button will disappear. I just set its display to block when the slide is at 1. And on next, it goes iterate through other slides. And at the last, I do same for the next button. On going to code part. Here, as you can see, first I used for each for loop to iterate over the slides. And then I use event listener on the buttons and call the functions carousel. As you can see here, these are the conditional statements. If the counter is at the first slide, the next button displays block, and if it is not, the next button displays none. Same for the previous button, and for the other, it will again iterate through the loop and iterate through every index of slide. And at last, it states the previous display to none. So these are the references, and this is the link for the project and for the GitHub repo. This is, you can connect me through email ID. And thank you. If you have any question, you can ask.
Okay, so Ganesh, the presentation was nice. What I think is for you could for the loops you can use a comparison table, as I have told your previous intern. That is, as I had told to Raj, that you can use a table to tell people how for which test cases which loops are more suitable. Just one slide is needed in that. At the same time, all the slides that were given, they had good amount of information. They had right amount of examples, but you could be a little faster, a little, the pace was getting low at some
Okay.
point. So try to keep a monotonous pace and try to modulate your voice so that the people get a hook onto your presentations. That is all from my side. Overall, it was a good presentation. Keep it up. Okay.
Sir, I have actually one query.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I have assigned some wrong assignment. So I talked to the Yash Chandra sir.
Okay.
So he will took care of it. So that presentation is also included.
Okay, don't worry. If you have another presentations that are assigned for the wrong task, that will be taken care of by the backend team. Don't worry
Okay.
about that. Just you have told the Yash Chandra about all those presentations, correct?
Yes, sir.
Then you don't have to worry about anything.
Thank you, sir.
Well. And Ganesh, do put your email ID in the chat, okay? Next we have Ratiranjan Sahoo. You can start your presentation.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. My name is Ratiranjan Sahoo. I am from Web Development Group, and my batch is 16th March. Today, I have a pending presentation on Introduction to JavaScript and its core principles. Is my screen is visible, sir?
Yeah, it is visible. You can continue.
Sir. What is JavaScript? JavaScript is a popular programming language. It is a dynamic programming language which is used in front end as well as in back end part. And it is JavaScript is a high level and interpretable language, which means it scans all the code lines one by one, just like other interpreters do. And then the uses of JavaScript. JavaScript is used in so many applications, such as in developing mobile application, web applications. Next is game development, such as many Android games, such as BGMI, Free Fire, and also one game is Ninja Fruit. I don't recall it correctly. That is totally written and executed on JavaScript. And then next is building an web server and server applications. JavaScript is in building server applications because it supports client-side scripting, so that there is easier handling the web servers as compared to others. Then next is the advantages of JavaScript. There are so many advantages of JavaScript, such as it is very simple to handle. Simple means its syntax is very simple, and it, it could take less time as compared to other languages. Next advantage is its speed. As the syntax is become simple and easy, so the speed automatically increases, which means the developer need less time to develop their web application or mobile application through JavaScript. The next advantages is versatility. This means JavaScript is compatible with other languages too, such as PHP and Java. So this is the advantage of JavaScript. Next advantage is server load. As we can know, it's a client-side JavaScript, so it run along in the web page along with HTML and CSS. So it does not require any further loading from the server. So it reduces the server load. Then next is fast development. Uh, it is mentioned previously that as its syntax is more simpler, so it takes less time, and the developer make the app or which you want to make become so fast. Next is disadvantages of JavaScript. Everyone has its advantages and its disadvantages. In this case, JavaScript, there is browser compatibility, such as different web browsers interpret JavaScript code in different ways. For example, in Google Chrome, the JavaScript is uh, interpreted in a way which is completely different from the JavaScript which is interpreted in Microsoft Edge. So this is the main problem of JavaScript. And then next is the security problem. Since JavaScript runs on the client side, so there may be a chance of cross-site scripting, and this makes JavaScript vulnerable to security attacks. Then next disadvantage is debugging. Uh, some HTML editors have their own debugging software to debug any bugs present in the JavaScript code. But maximum HTML editors don't have the capability to debug the codes of JavaScript. So this is also a disadvantage of JavaScript. Then Next is how does JavaScript code work on web page? So JavaScript code first added to the HTML code by internally as well as externally. When the user visits the web page, the browser will run the script along with the HTML and CSS code. This means when I go to the web page, it simultaneously run HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and it is made the web page functional. There is, sir, how can add JavaScript code to a website? There are two methods now through which we can add JavaScript code to our website, such as internally and externally. Internally, there is a script tag. Inside the script tag is present in the body tag of the HTML code. Then inside this script tag, the JavaScript code is added to the button or some functionalities so that this JavaScript code could reflect on the web page. Then another method is externally. In the externally method, the JavaScript code is written externally out of the HTML code, and the code is printed in .js extension. Then the JavaScript file is added to the HTML code in the head tag using src tag. It is the example, sir, how it is added internally. Internally, you can see in this in the script inside the script tag, there is the JavaScript function. Here it is, and in the external part, you can see this is src equals to js script.js. This actually means the js/script.js is written externally, and this external js file is added to the HTML file. Next is conclusion. So JavaScript is often used along with HTML and CSS to make web page more functional, and it can be used in front end as well as back end. So it could be a game changing part of web development. Thank you, sir. This is my email address.
Okay, so Ratiranjan, the presentation was well made from your side. The overall presentation was also good. It was well explained. It was introduction to JavaScript, and what else was there? The topic name?
Core principles, sir. It's core principles.
Let's go on. Mostly it felt like it was just an introduction to JavaScript. I didn't find any core principles in the slide. At the same
Sir,
time,
actually, I don't understand what is the core principle which I want to show in the presentation. Is this in programming part or which part, sir? I don't understand it properly.
okay, don't worry about it. We'll talk about the introduction first. So, in the introduction itself, even though everything was given, you talked about the advantages, disadvantages, everything. That was well presented. At the very start, what you can do is you can create a story in your mind and you can tell the origin of JavaScript. That is how JavaScript came to be, why we use JavaScript, and all those things. Through a story, you can narrate those things. It will keep a hook on the users as well. At the same time, the core principles means JavaScript has many this. I'll tell you one thing. Give me one second. So there are multiple core principles that I can see right now. You could have studied these. You can search it on the net itself. Okay. There are different types of principles that you can use in JavaScript. You can talk about those, elaborate those. If a presentation is scheduled for the next time. Okay. And at the end, you can include a question answer slide or reference slide from where you got the information and all those things. It will be as, and on the end slide, do include your contact details so that if any intern wants to have a reference or any information about your topic, they can have it from you directly. Okay.
Okay, sir.
That was all from my side. And thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Ratiranjan, do put your email ID in the chat itself, okay? You can stop your screen recording and we'll go to the next participant. It is Anka Rao. I'll ask them to unmute.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can start your presentation, Anka.
1 minute, sir. I'm present, sharing my screen.
Okay, for sure.
Hello, sir.
Yes, you're audible now.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. I'm Gaurav Kumar from Full Stack Web Developer Group. Firstly, I will present my task 1. It is a doctor appointment web page. Firstly, I have created the UI of the website in Figma design. And then I have created the database for the doctor's appointment page in PHP MyAdmin. It is in MySQL database. And after that, I have written the backend code using PHP to connect to the database, and it will also take the requests from the front end. Basically, the web page, doctor appointment web page, it allows the user to provide their doctor's category and the area they want to search, and it will take those parameters and it will shows the nearby doctors in the specified category on the website. So from front end we will get search and area parameters to the backend, and I have taken the 2 parameters, search and area, and I have connected it to the database, and I have searched for the required doctors category and area in the database, and I will send, and I have sent the doctors I have found in the database to the front end using this backend code. And then I have tested the code in Postman testing before writing the jQuery code on front end. And for front end, I have used the Locofy to convert the design into the HTML code. And on front end, I have written the jQuery code to connect the front end and back end. Here, the jQuery code, whenever the user enters the search and area parameters, and he will click the search button, the jQuery code will be activated and it will send the search and area parameter to the backend, and the backend will send back the doctors found in the database to the front end, and it will show on the website. And I have hosted the website on the 00 web host, and that is the task 1. And now I will present the task 2. It is SRS document, software requirement specification document. Basically, the SRS document creation process involves several steps, including defining a scope, identifying stakeholders, listing functionalities and non-functional requirements, prioritizing requirements, creating system architecture, defining use cases, data requirements, testing requirements, project timeline, reviewing and refining and finalizing the SRS document. It basically collects all the requirements, all the functionalities to create a website. And the process starts with reviewing relevant discussion videos to gather details on software requirements, and ends with finalizing the SRS document and sharing it with the development team. And the development team uses this SRS document to build the website. And then the software requirements are prioritized based on their importance and urgency, considering the criticality of the medical domain. And the development team will get the SRS document, and they will prioritize the website tasks, which part should be built first and which part should be built after that. And in this way, it will be helpful for the development team. And I have created the model for the Trusting Mind master web application website. This is the model for it. It is like a flow chart. It is the process, how it will goes from the beginning to the end. First, patient appointment, and then registration process, fill the evaluation form, and then join, and the process goes on till the end of the the user satisfied. And that is the task 2. Actually, this is my task 3, data types, variables and operators in JavaScript. This is the task 3 allotted to me.
Wait, Anka, wait. That is fine. You have given 2 task presentations. You can give the next task presentations after some time, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Okay. We have people that are waiting in the queue.
Sir, I will be short and sharp, sir. It will take hardly 5 to 10 minutes. If you can permit me, I will give it today only, sir.
Okay, just continue.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, the task 4 is data types, variables, and operators in JavaScript. Firstly, data types. In JavaScript, we have different types of data types. First one is a string. It is a sequence of characters enclosed within quotes. In string, we can give any names like that. and we have a number. Number is like integers and numeric values. We can give numbers in it. We can create variables of these data types, and we can use them. And then we have boolean. It is a true or false value. And then we have null. It represents undefined, nothing, or empty. And there is also undefined data type. This undefined and null data types are new. They are included after some days of JavaScript has created. And then we have a main data type, which is object. It is more frequently used by the developers. It is object, a complex data type used to store collection of data, including function, arrays, and other objects. In object, we can store different data types. We can combine them into one object, and we can create instances of them also. And then we have variables. Variables are like they let us store the different data types in the memories. We have three variable types. First one is where, and the second one is let, and the third one is const. Initially we have only where keyword in the JavaScript, and after some days they have also added let and const keywords so that the development will be easy. First one is where keyword. Where keyword, it declares a variable with a function or global scope. And then let keyword, it is used to declare a variable within block scope. It scope is a block scope. This is the main difference between the where and the let. And then we have const. This is the variable. It also has block scope, but it cannot be reassigned to a value. It will throw an error. And here is the example. So we can define the variables and we can initialize them like this. These are the data types. And operators, we have different types of operators. The first one is arithmetic operators, as we have studied from our childhood. We have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus, and increment and decrement operators. We have comparison operators, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and equal to. And we also have logical operators, and operator, or operator, and not operator. We also have assignment operators. With this we can assign some value to a variable. Like that we can also add another variable, add another number or a variable to another number. We can also subtract, we can also multiply, and we can also divide. This is the example. This example involves all the operators we have. I have in it has involved arithmetic operator, it has involved logical operator, and it also involved assignment operator. And last one is a task 4. After learning JavaScript basics, they have allotted me to create an web interactive project, and I have chose a game. It is a tic-tac-toe.
That is fine now. These 3 presentations were enough. You can give the last presentation tomorrow, okay? Give me the third presentation's topic. Yeah, in the same way. Give me the third presentation's topic again.
Sir, it is operators, variables, and data types.
Okay. Okay, Anka,
sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah, you can ask.
Sir, I have completed my probation period, sir. How I will be promoted and what is the process?
Okay, that is not in my hands. Okay. So try to put it on Trello. You will get your answer there. Okay.
Sir, at this, we will be allotted real-time tasks, or we will be allotted the same tasks like this.
That all you can just ask on Trello. Okay. I'm here to give you a score on your presentation and all those things.
Okay.
Those general queries you can ask in the Scrum meeting that is happening daily or on the Trello.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
At the same time, Anka, there are a lot of discrepancies in your presentation. You need to improve a lot. Okay. So there is no story at the very start. In the sense, there should be a creative story to start any of these. So for the doctor's appointment web page, you could have just made, so your task was given, so So you could have just made a story that there's this doctor who was a nutritionist. He wanted a website for this, and that. So by doing this, it will enable all the people to be engaged with you. Through that story, you can take your presentation to somewhere. Secondly, try to explain all the working codes on the front end of your demo. So there was no demo on the first doctor appointment page. There was no demo of the doctor appointment page, what you made, how it looked. There was no demo of such. And thirdly, there was no question answers, no reference slides, no conclusion slide. There was no contact information at the end of your site. This same carried to the SRS. There was in the SRS there was no order to inform. There's no order to the information. So suppose what is an SRS document, you explain. Then after that you went on to a different topic. In the sense, you could have explained who uses SRS, what is the hierarchy of SRS documents, what enables SRS what enables developers to use SRS. So the developers don't go to the clients for asking the SRS.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so try to include those in the order so that people can follow through. And at the same time, you did not show the demo of your SRS, what SRS document you made. You just show the flowchart. Okay, in the operators, variables, and data types, you have no demo at the same time. You explained the operators and variables well. That I can give you. You had the examples as well. But other than that, there was a lot of discrepancies. Try to work it out. Okay.
Yes.
That
Yes,
was
sir.
all from my side.
Should have tell about the doctor appointment website page, how it works firstly, and then I have to explain the
No, just
how
try
I
to,
have
while
done.
giving out a demo, you don't
Yes.
have to explain the codes at the very start. At the start, just tell what is your task, how the task how you have performed the task, then give the demo. In the demo itself, you tell me the working codes on the front end. So if I click this, I have this function which does this. If I click that, I have this function that does that. On the front end itself, you have to explain me the source code. Okay. So
Yes,
that
sir.
is all. That is how you have to do. So from the next presentation itself, I think you can improve on these points. Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Thank you, Anka.
Thank you,
And
sir.
do put your email ID in the chat. Okay.
Sir. Can I stop my
Yeah,
screen
you
share?
can stop your presentation. Next we have Kranthi Kumar.
Yes, sir.
You can start your presentation, Kranthi.
Good evening, sir. This is Kranthi Kumar, and I am from Full Stack Web Developer Group, and my batch is Jan 16th, and my supervisors are Devanshu Shukla sir and S. Chandra Upadhyay. And coming to the tasks which I have assigned, the first project which is TM Master Web Application. Under the TM Master Web Application, I have done these two tasks. One of them is a doctor search website, and another is software requirement specification sheet. And coming to the doctor search website, this was my first task. So Trusting Minds is a medical clinic that is committed to providing the best possible care to its patients. So this was just a clinic that is opting to develop their appointment scheduling and patient record management and everything and other critical functions, which helps the clinic run smoothly and efficiently. So they opted for this project, and the TM Master Web Application project is the step towards achieving their goal. As a full stack web developer intern, my primary task was to understand the client needs and everything. So what basically they need, and how the project should look like, and and they need some type of forms, right? So how the form should look like and everything. So and my role is to develop those master application which meets the client's needs. So coming to the main focus of this task is to search doctors nearby the user's area and choose the appropriate doctors as per their needs. So and I am this project is an individual project, so I'm working on this TM Master Web Application project, and I have utilized these skills like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and some web development tools too. So coming to the web development tools, first I have used Figma tool to create the design, how the website should look like and everything. It's basically just a design, and in order to convert the design to the code, they told us to use the automation tool, which is a Locify, which is used to convert the Figma designs into HTML and CSS code. So, and after converting the code, we have hosted the website in the 000 web host app service, which is a free service. So, and we wrote the and I wrote the backend language PHP as the backend language, and I wrote all of the backend code, and I have used MySQL as the database for developing this website. And after writing the service, I have used the Postman to ensure its functionality, like testing whether the service is working or not. So I have to face some of the problems in the Postman. So later I was asked for the help, and later I got answers to those troubleshoots, and I found the solutions. And coming to the connecting the front end and the service, I have used the jQuery, which was a JavaScript library. It basically handle a button click event to retrieve the input values and send them as a post parameters to the PHP service. And later it will update the content in the HTML page. This was the basic role of this jQuery. And this was basically how my project would look like in the desktop app. So I have provided the links here. This was the GitHub link where I have posted all the files. And yeah, this was my website. You can see here. So let me just refresh it, and that was the category I chose. And Toronto is the area. Okay, Toronto. So when I click the find doctors, you can see that here Dr. Tina Chu. She is an expert and known for this. You can see the basic info of her, what the role she is, and I have used created the database too. This was the database and doctor name area category. You can see here. I have posted everything in the Trello. And coming to my presentation part. Yeah, this was the project, and this was the 000 web host files which I have shared. This was the SS of it, and this was the database part. And coming to the conclusion, overall the development of the TM Master Web application has been valuable learning experience, because it was a start of my web development experience in this industry, web development industry. So I have gone through some of web development skills and web development tools, which helped in improving my skills and learning the new skills. So moving forward, I will continue to work on the application to ensure it meets the client's expectations and deliver a quality product. So this was the first task of the TM Master Web application. Coming to the second task, it was a software requirement specification, SRS. Well, software SRS is a document which provides a detailed description of the features and functionalities, and what basically are the requirements of the software. When a developer goes through the SRS document, he will get a clean knowledge of how to develop the software and application and everything. So it's just like a blueprint of the development process and everything. So it basically helps the developers a lot, which are starting to the project. Not by once they go through the blueprint part, they can know how to build the project and they can start working on it. So SRS document will ensure the web application meets the client's needs and will be a valuable resource for the future maintenance and updates. If there is any update that the developer need to know, then they can refer the SRS document. So he will get to know what are the changes that he need to make and everything. So Devanshu sir provided a video playlist which helped me to define the scopes of the TMS web application, and with those video playlists I wrote the SRS document. So these were the steps that I have included in the SRS document. So these are the 12 steps. You can go through them. And coming to the prioritization part of this SRS document, I have prioritized which need to be done first. And I have the data requirements were identified and documented to ensure the proper data storage and management. So whatever the client needs, how the everything, whatever the data he needs, like patient's background data, whether his blood group and every past like health issues and everything. So that was the data requirements that we can take from the patients, and the project timeline milestones were established to keep the project on track. So this was the link to the document, SRS document, and I have shared the Google Drive link. Yeah, this was the SRS document. You can see here. So you can go through the document and see it for yourself. Yeah, coming to the presentation part. Yeah, coming to the conclusion. In conclusion, the creation of SRS document for the TM Master Web application was a crucial step because it was the basic need for a developer to know how the application should develop, right? So it was a lead to the success of the project. So with the thorough discussion of the playlist helped me a lot in writing all the functional and non-functional requirements that a software should meet. This was the conclusion part, and from this, these are the two tasks under the TM Master Web application. So coming to the another project which they have assigned, Introduction to Web Standards and JavaScript Concepts and Fundamentals. So in this project, they gave the up to now they gave the 3 tasks.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
You have explained the 2 tasks. That is fine. You can explain the 3rd task in the next meeting itself. We still have one candidate remaining who has to
Okay,
be
sir.
introduced. Okay.
Yes. I will
So
explain these tasks tomorrow, right, sir?
yeah, you can join the same link tomorrow. I'll take the presentations tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Okay. So
Yeah.
firstly, Kranthi, your TM Master Web application Doctor Search website.
Yes, sir.
The Doctor Search website was explained really well.
Okay.
You had all the points where how it came to be, how you made, what languages you used, everything you told. That was nice. But
Yes.
do try to include a reference slide and a Q&A slide at the end, and your contact information. So if anyone wants to contact you regarding this project, if they need your help, they'll be able to take it.
Yeah, at the end of the website, right?
Yeah, at the end of
Okay.
not at the end of the website, at the end of your presentation slide.
Acha, okay, sir.
Okay, now next part is I can see in your demo, if you go to your demo for the Doctor Search website, yeah.
Okay, sir.
So if you do, just clear the space for search area and just go up, yeah, just clear pediatrics and Toronto and click on find doctors.
Yeah, I clicked up.
Okay, so this should not be happening. Even though it is happening, this should not be happening. You can improve it a little bit. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And on the next task that we talked about, what was SRS? In SRS, you could explain a little more about the SRS document as a whole. You did explain it well, but a little more was required from you. At the same time, how the SRS document is used in the workspace, it can be explained through a flowchart. So the firstly, who takes the SRS document from the client, who makes it, then how it is passed down. On one slide, you can make a flowchart of it, and you can just put it on the slide and you can show it, so that it will tell us how the SRS document has been passed down or how it is used in the workspace. Okay. And your demo about the SRS, you did not explain well about the demo. So what kind of SRS document you made? What all are the client requirements? So you did have a flowchart about it, but what are the client requirements and how you made them into an SRS document? You could have explained a little bit more about that in your demo. Okay. These were the inputs. Same for the reference and QA slide. Do include them at the end, and your name and information. Okay. These are the inputs.
I
Try to
think I have included the files, right, sir?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That is fine. So these are the inputs, and try to improve on these. Okay.
Yes.
And it was a good presentation overall from your side. The PPT was well made as well. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Kranthi, at the same time, put your email ID in the chat. Okay. Next, we have Chella Saketh Verma.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. You can start your presentation.
Yes, sir. Is my screen visible?
It was visible.
Yes, sir. And I am Chella Saketh Verma from Full Stack Web Developer Group. I'm from Jan 16th branch, and I am here to give presentation on my pending task. Actually, there are 5 tasks, sir. And the first task is developing a doctor's appointment landing web page. And in this task, we have assigned to create a doctor's landing web page, so that the users can search based on their area and based on their requirement. The users can search based on the requirements, such as if they need the cardiologist, they can search the cardiologist in their area, and they can also search if they need a dentist or pediatric, etc. And it is designed in such a way that the users can find it helpful to find the doctors in their area. And in this, I have implemented a search feature so that the users can search. And in this, I have used various skills to develop this web application that includes HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are used in developing this web page. And firstly, I have created a user interface using a tool called Figma, and then later on, I have used locofy.ai to convert the Figma design into HTML and CSS code. And next, I have used 000 webhost.app to do the web hosting. And this app is a free web host service. And then I used PHP as a backend language, and used MySQL for database. And to ensure the website is properly working so I have used Postman to test the created web service. And the tools used are Figma, locofy.ai, 000 webhost, and MySQL. And coming to the Figma, it is a free web design tool that can allow us to create the prototypes that we want. And the advantage of Figma is that it allows real-time collaboration of the same file. And the next, the tool is locofy.ai. This tool will help us to convert the Figma design into the code, and it will help us to lower the time required to create a web page by converting the design into the code, so that it will be helpful to understand. And next I have created the database in PHP-MyAdmin with MySQL. And here we can find the doctors list, such as with a different category and different area. Actually, the database is primarily based on Hyderabad, and the doctor category we can find it like a general category, cardiologist. And next, if we go to, and after the creation of the database, and I have uploaded the code generated through the Locofy in the 000 web host. And then later I have created web service using PHP, and then connected the front end with the back end. And I also tested this and also uploaded all the files like a PHP code, a web service, and in the 000 web host. And then I have used Postman to test the creative web service. And at the beginning, I got some errors, and then with the help of the team, like I overtook the errors, and then I completed my web page. And this is my first task, sir. And coming to the demo, this is my doctor's website, sir. And here we can find the doctor's appointment. The location I have selected as the Hyderabad, which is I have provided in the database, and such category. And if I am looking for dental, and we can find, yes, we can find Dr. Fountain area, Dr. Anish Anand, with 14 years of experience. And if we look for another one like a cardiologist, we can find another doctor like Moka Pranit. And that's with my first task, sir. And if I go to the second task, this is a software requirement specification, creating a software requirement specification document for the TM web app. And if I go through it, what is an SRS? So if you look at what is an SRS is a software requirement specification document that will describe what the software will load, and what the stakeholders are, stakeholders are expecting from us to perform. And so that we can notify all the requirements that are required in creating this application. And the timelines, we can find out what the timelines, and what is the estimated cost that will cost for this application. And the purpose is that the purpose of this SRS document is to develop a web application that will help the hospitals in converting all the manual processes that happens in the hospitals into the digital processes, and completely make it digitalized. And it will helps to develop personalized plans for the patients, and enable fast and reliable communication between the stakeholders. And the steps involved are reviewing the discussion video places that are provided to us, and identify the scope of the project. And the scope of the project, if you look at, is the web application will aims to digitalize the manual processes used in hospitals. And it will the application primary goal is to enhance patient healthcare by enabling physicians to create a tailored meal regimens for individuals. And next we have identified the stakeholders who uses the web application. And the stakeholders are identified as the patients, the doctors, and the chefs. And the next identified the functional and the non-functional requirements. And if you look at the functional requirements, it is a patient's appointment, diet plan, and patient record management. And if you look at the non-functional requirements, it is the security and the performance of this application mainly. And the next, I have identified the requirements of a high priority, and the requirements are such as patient evaluation, customized diet plans, the security, the performance of this application, and the usability. And next, we look at identify the possible use case scenarios for the web application. And I have noted down some possible use case scenarios such as a doctor evaluates patients and creates the diet plans for the patients, and the cook will prepare food based on the diet plan provided by the doctor, and the doctor will review the patient's records, and then the admin will manage the system settings and reporting and analytics of the all the given data. And next, identify the data requirements. And if we look at the data requirements, it is such as user data, diet plan data, and the communication data, and finally reporting and analytics data are there. And then if we look at the testing requirements that are required, and then we can look at unit testing, and the first one. And unit testing, unit testing is required to test individual units of code such as functional and methods, and the next system testings. And the system testing is required to test the entire system as a whole. And then finally the security testing. And after all, looking at the essential requirements of this SRS document, and finally identify the project timeline. And then if you look at the conclusion, and this SRS document will establish the basis for agreement between the customers and the suppliers on what the software product is to do, and it will reduces the development effort, and it provides a basis for estimating schedules and estimating cost. And then if you look at the SRS document that I have created, and here are our document, and here we have provided the introduction for this, and the purpose, the scope, and we have explained all this in the PPT itself. The stakeholders such as patients, doctors, and chefs were identified, and the functional requirements such as patient's appointment, diet plan, and the patient record management were identified. And also we have identified and discussed about the non-functional requirements such as security and the performance of the web application, and the requirements of high priority were also identified. And then we are also looked at some possible use case scenarios for the web application, such as doctor evaluates patient and creates his diet plan, and the cook will prepare food based on the diet plan provided by the doctor, and the doctor reviews patient's records and is a diet plan, and then the admin will manage the system settings and reporting and analytics. And we have also discussed about the data requirements, and we also discussed about the testing requirements such as unit testing, system testing, and security testing. And finally, the project timeline was also mentioned. And we can see the planning and analysis, the first one for the project timeline. And this phase can take around 2 to 4 weeks. And second, design and development, this phase can also take around 8 to 12 weeks. And testing and quality assurance, and about 4 to 6 weeks. And deployment and maintenance finally. And this is the conclusion. If you look at this web application is basically designed to transform the manual hospital process into digital mode, and the application will facilitate better communication between the doctor, patients, and the cooks of the patients, and ensuring that patients are receiving the proper date that doctors are provided. And that's all from the second task, sir. And next.
Okay, you can stop now. Chella.
So next I have 3 tasks remaining, sir.
I understand.
Can I give
understand. You can give it tomorrow itself. Okay. So
Yes,
I've taken 2 tasks per intern today.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So we'll review your 2 tasks. Firstly, doctor's appointment web page. So you Firstly, I'll go over some minor things that are you did not include question answer slide, you did not include reference slide, did not include any contact information if anyone wants to contact you on the end slide. Okay, these are some minor things that you can easily gloss over, that you can get into, but you still need some improvement in the flow of the presentation. Even though you were giving the presentation, there's no, how do I say, there's no enthusiasm to it, in the sense you were just, it was looking like you were reading, and you did not, even though you were explaining, but it was coming out too monotonous. Okay, just try to modulate your voice a little bit, that'll work for you. Okay, and the doctor's appointment web page, as far as that goes, it was well made. I liked what you have made. Okay, the demonstration was done well as well. The coming on to the SRS document, firstly, the SRS document that you have made, correct? It can be improved a little bit. So there are some things are missing from that SRS document. Okay, you can improve that SRS document. You go over the examples of some SRS documents that has been made on the internet. You'll know what are the things that are missing. Okay, just cross-reference it with your SRS. At the same time, you can see in the organization, the SRS documents goes into hierarchy, in the sense it goes to one guy who takes the information from the client itself, and then it is given to the developers. So how the SRS document is used within the organization, you can make a flowchart of it and include it in the presentation. Okay.
Okay.
In one slide, it is fine.
Okay.
That is all from my side, but do include the question and answer slide and reference slide and your contact information in every of the presentations that you give. Okay.
Okay. So
That was
actually, I have mentioned at the end of all the slides.
okay.
I thought I can give all the presentation today. So I have
Okay.
mentioned all the.
Okay, just try to include it in every. So when you give your presentation tomorrow, try to include it after every topic has been entered. Okay, so that, because if you keep it at the very end of your presentation, that is after 5 tasks, so people who have questions, they'll be they'll be waiting and they'll be confused about. So if many people have different types of questions, they'll be confused about what to ask at the end. That's why, to make it simplifiable, I want you to include it at the end of every task that you do. Okay.
Okay.
By the way, the overall presentation was good. I liked how you presented it. Okay. Just try to do some work on the flow of the presentation. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Thank you for your presentations, Chella.
Thank you, sir. So can I join for the same link for tomorrow or other link?
Join the main Scrum meeting for tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir.
You'll be in the main Scrum meeting. You'll be given the link if you need.
Okay, sir.
Don't join this link again. Okay.
Okay, sir. So tomorrow I can only give the remaining 3 presentations.
Yeah, you can give the remaining. Try to come early so that you can raise a
Okay,
hand.
sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank
Okay,
you.
sir. Okay, sir. So shall I mention my email?